Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great start to their week. Hi, Marjona. Hi, Abdal Rahman, Ankit, Surya, Christian, Eldor, Huda. Nice to see many of you in this class already. That's fantastic. Everyone, today we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 1 for some Band 9 tips and practice. Huda, yeah, the IELTS exam that I did went fantastic. I can't tell you my scores yet, but they will be out in some upcoming videos for sure. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, visit us at GIELTS help.com. That's general IELTS help.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of materials for you to improve your communication and your IELTS band scores, your English. Our academic website looks like this with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access, so definitely worth it. We're an official IELTS test registration center. We have British Council agents working for us, so lots of great information for you. On general IELTS, same idea, gieltshelp.com, one-time payment, lifetime access. Click that big red button and you will find videos, practice exams, interactive courses, and lots more. If anybody has questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I see that some of our members are also joining in on the class now. Hi, Carolina, our moderator. Welcome, Rashika and Andri. Good to see you in the class, everyone. All right. So we have a full week of classes, starting with today. We have speaking part 1. Tomorrow, we're going to have some reading for members, listening for everyone, and then we will have some writing and listening Q&A session coming up for members later in the week. All right. So I see Janeel's in the class as well. Janeel, tomorrow is your listening, reading, writing. Please give tips. Yeah, definitely, Janeel. Do a full practice exam before you sit your official one, and follow those strategies that I've been teaching you, Janeel. I'm not going to tell you the scores I got yet on my IELTS exam, but I can tell you that they're quite good. So those strategies are very effective. So they will work, okay? Good luck on your exam tomorrow, Janeel. All right, everyone. So speaking. Yeah. Definitely follow these tips to get a band 9 in your speaking. Proven to work. It's a speaking class, so make sure to speak and repeat. The idea for speaking is to speak in long, clear, full sentence answers. You have to be fluent, and you have to give details. So my first advice to you to get a band 9, the tip, I said today is going to be tips and practice. So tip 1 for speaking is to get a band 9, give complete answers with details, and do not repeat yourself. Okay, so avoid repeating, give novel ideas. All right, okay, Josh, you can find vocabulary on our website as well. All right, everyone, so that's what we're focusing on, giving complete answers with details and not repeating. Okay, it means answer plus explain plus example. And the example has to be smooth. Okay, a smooth example. All right. Now, from my experience, I took the exam 1 week ago, the official IELTS exam, and I was actually asked for my passport twice. I'm not sure if some of you have the same experience, but they asked me for my passport when I go in 15 minutes or 20 minutes before my speaking interview. And these days with COVID, you have to put all of your belongings into a plastic bag and leave them in a room, like your phone and your jacket, any accessories. You're not allowed a watch into your exam as well. And then they will actually take your picture with your student number. So you have to hold your student number in front of yourself, and they'll have a camera and they'll take your picture for your certificate. And they will also ask you for your passport. Okay, so that's the first time that they ask you for your passport. And then when you go and you see the examiner, the interviewer that interviews you, they will also ask for your passport. So you get asked for your passport twice, okay? The first time you get asked for your passport, you should already be speaking in a full sentence. And that's not the examiner. You're not being marked yet. That's just one of the invigilators. But it's a good chance to start using your English, okay? So the first question that gets asked from you is, may I see your identification? And it can be something else than your passport. So right away, you should speak in a nice, full, complete sentence. This is exactly what I did. It helped me to be confident and to be calm as well. So the invigilator will ask you this, may I see your identification? And the examiner will likely ask you as well, okay? You don't pass it to them. You just hold it out. Because of COVID, nobody wants to touch the passport. It's just you. But anyway, the question is, may I see your identification? So Surya says, yes, certainly. Here's my ID that I used to register for this exam. Please have a look. And Surya, good. So say that to the invigilator, okay? Just give a nice, big, full sentence, okay? Alana Zarova says, yes, you may. Here is my ID I used to register for this exam. Okay. Namik says, sure, this is my passport that I used for registration. Please take a look. Good. Okay. And you want to have the same kind of fluency for the examiner, right? Shamim Khan says, hi, pal. All right. Hi to you as well. Bikash says, yes, of course. Here's my passport. Janelle says, yes, of course. Here's my ID that I used to register for the exam. Please have a look. Those are all very good. Yeah, so nice and smooth, okay? So yes, of course, here is my passport that I used to register for this exam. Please take a look. Okay, and then you pass it to them. So be fluent, both when the invigilator and the examiner ask for your ID. Yeah. When the examiner asked to see my ID, and I said, yes, of course, here's my passport. The passport it's hard paper, so it tries to close. And I even said to him, he kind of looked up and smiled, and I even said to him, please let me know if I'm covering up any important information. Yeah. And he just kind of smiled. He realized it was not really, I wasn't covering anything, but I even said this. So when I was holding my passport for my examiner, I said, please let me know if I'm covering up any important information, because it's hard to hold your passport so that the other person can see every detail with your number and your name and your picture. So I just said, no, it's fine. All right. And then they'll introduce themselves. And again, nice full sentence. So be really fluent right away. Okay. Abhishek, thank you for that. You're awesome. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Abhishek, that's so fantastic of you. Thank you for coming back, Abhishek, and sharing that. I was really proud and happy to read that you succeeded on the IELTS exam. You're fantastic. Okay, and I really hope that you succeed with your plans to travel to Canada. So send me an email if you have any questions, okay? All right, everyone. So the next question that you get asked by the examiner is, what is your full name? So again, nice and fluent. What is your full name? Namik says, my first name is Namik and my surname is Safarli. People mostly call me Namik, so please do the same. It makes me feel comfortable. Very nice, Namik. Yeah, and just say that nice and fluent. Okay, that's exactly what I did in my exam. I said my given name is Adrian. My surname is Benedict. Please call me Adrian. It helps me to be a bit relaxed and comfortable. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. So what I'm teaching you in the class is exactly what I was doing in my exam as well. Jainil says, my full name is Jainil Jayanti and my surname is Gabani. Please just call me Jay for short. Very good, Jainil. Okay, nice and fluent during your exam, okay? You're on the right track. Okay. Ravi says, my first name is Ravi and my surname is Darji, just as it is written in my passport. Please call me Ravi. It makes me feel comfortable. Okay, very good, Ravi. Nice. All right. Caroline says, of course, here's my passport that I used for registration. Please take a look. That's for the previous. Erkin Salyev says, my full name is Nicholas Loden. Please call me by my first name, just Nick for short. Okay, Erkin. Tran says, my full name is Tran Quang He. People call me Tom because it's my nickname, so please call me Tom. Okay, that's good. Yeah, very good. All right. Nice to see many of our members reaching their goals on the IELTS exam. Congratulations again, members. That's fantastic. I'm thinking about both Abhishek and Carolina right now, so that's really, really great to hear that news, and that's what keeps me so energetic in these live classes, is knowing that many of our students succeed. All right, so what is my full name? My first name is Thomas, and my surname is Mackenzie, just as it is in my passport. Please just call me Tom for short. Okay, good. So again, what is your full name? My first name is Thomas and my surname is Mackenzie, just as it is in my passport. Please just call me Tom for short. Okay, Tom. Now I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better, and some questions on a general topic. Oh, and don't be surprised, students, when you come into the speaking exam. I usually don't talk about this, but don't freak out. It's actually a nice piece of time to concentrate and focus on what you need to do. At this point, in the very beginning of your speaking interview, the examiner will record some information. So they will say, I'm recording this interview for administrative and marking purposes. This is student ID 735842. The exam is being done in London. Time right now is 10:35 in the morning. And then that's about it. So they say there's about maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds of this kind of speech that the examiner says right onto the recorder before they put the recorder down. So during that time, just stay focused and really, it's a good time to calm yourself and kind of visualize that the examiner is your grandfather, your grandmother, a longtime friend that you're comfortable with. So here's another quick tip from my own experience. And again, I highly recommend doing this, is when the examiner is recording the speaking interview admin information, which is like time, number, student number, location. Keep calm and focused. This is the right time to remember that you need to speak in full sentences. And imagine that the examiner is your grandfather or grandmother. You have to speak loud and clear and with details. Okay? All right? So that's a good time to kind of do that. Don't space out. All right. Okay, so and then so we've gotten through the introductions. They'll introduce themselves as well. They're usually kind of friendly. I had a male examiner. He was roughly my age, about 40-ish, maybe a little bit older. I'm not sure. Hope I'm not insulting him. But my examiner was a guy kind of very similar to me. He had quite a mild British accent, so not one of the thicker British accents, but a more mild British accent. He was very professional, very soft-spoken. He wasn't really smiling. He was very neutral from start to finish. What I kind of noticed, too, is they're very subtle. They don't intonate much. That doesn't mean you shouldn't. So you should intonate. Is everybody clear on that? Even though the examiner is kind of flat spoken, and this is probably true for many of the examiners, they're kind of instructed to be a bit almost like melancholy, like they're not, it's almost like they're depressed or something. So tip 3, just because your examiner has a serious and flat tone does not mean that you should be flat. You should be serious also. Instead, make sure to intonate. Okay, so your voice should go up and down. You should have a clear rhythm, okay, and tone. All right. Does everybody kind of get that? It's because you're not the examiner. That's another kind of, so if you're speaking really flat like this, the examiner is very flat. So when the examiner asks you a question, what I mean is they'll talk to you like this. Where do you live? What do you do to relax? They're not going to be like, what do you do to relax? They're not going to be really intonating. They're going to be kind of flat, like, what do you do to relax? Oh, I really like to watch some movies to unwind. So you have to be the more animated. You have to be like the more kind of lively part of the discussion, okay? Don't overdo it, obviously, okay? You're not putting on a drama or a live play for an audience, but definitely, give energy, okay? You have to remember the examiner is there all day interviewing 20, 30 different people. You're only there for that 12, 13, 14 minutes, okay? Of course, they're not going to be super energetic all day, but you have to be energetic. Okay, that's a very clear difference again that I noticed as well. Okay, everybody clear on that? Everybody got that? So don't fall into the same tone as the examiner. All right. Okay, so let's continue on. Where do you live? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Where do you live? Okay. Erkin says, I live in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. One more time, Erkin. So Erkin says, I live in Tashkent, capital of Uzbekistan, in one of the central districts in a green area near the park. It's very quiet and comfortable place to live. Okay. And do you live in a house or in an apartment, Erkin? Can you give a little bit more details of your actual lodging? Ravi says, I live in a 2-bedroom brick house near the magnificent holy river Saraswati in Patan, which is an ancient place located in the northern part of Gujarat in India, of course. Very good, Ravi. Nice and fluent with that. It's great. Bharat says, currently I live in a small street shop in front of my home, Rajauri Garden, Delhi. Here I have been sheltering up for the past 2 months to complete my graduation after passing my last semester's exams. Okay, very nice, Bharat. Nice complete answer. It's great. Marty Kuhn says, I currently reside in my hometown in a 2-story flat with my nuclear family, about 200K from the capital city of Phnom Penh, Cambodia. All right, very good, Marty. Nice full sentence answer. I like how you included lodging. I like how you included the actual city. Oa says, I live in a small house with 3 bedrooms, an amazing backyard with my parents in the town of Bucharest, 5,000 population, beside the Foray River, about 30 kilometers from the downtown Far East Syria. Okay, Ois, that last part is a little bit confusing. Just be careful not to overspeak as well. All right. One of the questions that I can very clearly answer for you, since I just did the exam, is how do you know when you're over speaking? Okay, I'm going to answer this where do you live question first. So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my lovely wife and daughter in downtown Budapest. Just a few blocks away from the magnificent Danube River. Okay, so here's my answer. Again, lodging, visual, small to big. Where do you live? Repeat after me. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my lovely wife and daughter in downtown Budapest, just a few blocks away from the magnificent Danube River. Okay, how do you know not to overspeak? I kind of had a realization here. So definitely don't overspeak. Okay. Here's my next tip. So again, once you've answered, given an explanation and an example, just stop. Okay. Give the examiner a chance to ask the next question, right? Tip 4. This is for Band 9, okay? So lots of good tips today. It's a good class to be here. So tip 4, do not overspeak. And go off topic, okay? This is bad. You will lose marks for that. Okay. One way to know that you have said enough is to reference the body language of the examiner. While you are still on topic and answering the question, the examiner will make eye contact with you. As soon as you are going off topic or repeating yourself or simply just saying too much, the examiner will break eye contact and look at their question sheet for the next question. As soon as you see them purposefully look down at their sheet, finish speaking. Okay, so that's a really important tip. Everybody got that? So if I ask you the question, where do you live? And you're looking at me and you go, oh, I live in downtown Tashkent, which is, of course, the capital city of Uzbekistan, in a high-rise building on the 4th floor with my parents and my dog Sparky. I love living there. And then as you keep talking and you see the examiner look down, and they're kind of like, almost like they're signaling that that's it. So they'll look down, then kind of stop speaking. Don't keep talking to them while they're already looking at their paper, because they're either going to interrupt you, or you start to feel that they're frustrated that you're talking too much. So pay attention to the examiner's body language for when you should stop talking. Okay. All right. You can even, in part 2, we'll talk about that when we do a part 2 class, but even in part 2, you can start to feel when the examiner is like, okay, they've answered the question, it's done. So you can feel it from their body language. Students, please use English in the chat. Okay. Use English in the chat. All right. Okay. Let's go on to part 1. So here the examiner will introduce the part 1 topic, and they may introduce a lot of different topics. The topic I got last week was let's talk about math, or maths, because the British like using the plural on that, the maths, and then asking me questions about math. What I use math for, when did I learn math, what my teachers did to make math fun. Those were some of the questions they asked me last week in the official exam. So part 1 can really be just about any kind of common topic. Today's topic for us here is let's talk about gifts. Okay, so let's talk about gifts. All right, how often do you buy a gift? So answer, explain, example. Srivatsta, no, you can't ask them to explain the topic. They're not going to do that. They just have a sheet. They ask you those questions. That's it. Okay. Nakshayan, you have to check. IELTS is usually valid for 2 years. In some places, it's just valid for 1 year for some applications. So you have to check. But if you're over 2 years, then it's probably expired. All right. Okay, so let's try to answer this question here. How often do you buy a gift? All right. How often do you buy a gift? Kanika, yeah, they'll give you a bit of time to think about your answer. Absolutely. Yep. Boba Murad says, I buy the gift only on holidays for my friends and parents. Okay, Boba Murad, how often is that? So how often do you have holidays in your country or in your culture when you buy gifts? Include that information. Quantitative language is really important for getting a band 9. Sammy says, I usually buy gifts once in a month, either for my friend's birthday or weddings. Last week, I bought an iPhone 12 for my wife for her birthday. Very nice, Sammy. Okay, so that's a good answer. Explanation, quantitative language. That's exactly what you need to do, okay? So, well, I frequently buy presents for others. I would say at least a couple times each month, whether it's for a birthday or a special holiday gift, like the box of heart-shaped chocolates that I purchased for my wife this past Valentine's Day on February 14th. Okay. So there you go. So quantitative language, that's my next tip. I use lots of quantitative language, and I guess that the examiner definitely liked that because, again, the results were quite good. Tip 5, okay, is make sure to constantly focus on including quantitative language in your answers. This means numbers and identifiable nouns. Months, weekdays, and so on. Okay, so lots of quantitative language, okay? You can't have too much. Well, maybe you can, but it's hard to do that. So, okay, here we go. Repeat after me. How often do you buy a gift? Well, I frequently buy presents for others. I would say at least a couple times each month, whether it's for a birthday or a special holiday gift, like the box of heart-shaped chocolates that I purchased for my wife this past Valentine's Day on Feb 14th. I'm I'm often buying a gift. Yeah, okay. So next question. Here we go. Who do you usually get presents from? And they might ask you the why. Okay, so who do you usually get presents from? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. Uphill says, I receive presents from my brother whenever he visits me. For my last birthday, he gifted me with a bike that just made my year. Okay, Uphill, take the divine out. Just made my year is enough, okay? Shrivatsa says, Shrivatsa is asking, I've seen a video of yours asking about a few things related to globalization. I was unsure of what I wanted to answer. What can I do in this situation? Shrivatsa, make it up, visualize, definitely answer, okay? Do your best. You can ask for a question to be repeated if you didn't catch it. Okay, you can do that maybe once or twice. You can also ask some time to think about your answer. You can say, well, I've never really given that much thought, but you definitely do want to answer. Otherwise, you will lose points, okay? All right. Saurav says, frequently, I buy gifts once or twice a month. It depends if someone is having a birthday or there is a special occasion. Last Monday, I bought a teddy bear for my girlfriend for her birthday. Okay, Sharav, watch your grammar. Caroline says, I often buy some gifts for every event for my close friends or family, such as celebrating birthday parties, weddings, and other occasions. Okay, Caroline, include an example. Okay, smooth example. Lepay says, I get presents. Let's see Lepay if I can find the rest of it because I just see. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Lepay says, of course, conversely, I often receive gifts from my girlfriend as well. We love to exchange gifts on special occasions, such as anniversaries, as is our resonant ritual. In this way, we can sublimate our relationship. Apart from this, I often receive Thanksgiving cards from my students before they leave. School. Last semester, I collected 20 plus cards at the graduation ceremony. Very nice, Lepay. Okay, nice. Yeah. Gifts from students, certainly. Okay. CAB says, mostly from my mom. She always gets or makes a gift for me, and I receive them with pleasure. As on my last birthday, I got a clock from my mom, which I dreamt of having for years. Very nice. Okay. Good. So usually, right? Um, Usually, you have to really pay attention to the details in the question. Who do you usually get presents from? Um, Most often, I receive gifts from my wife and my daughter on special occasions, like my birthday or on our wedding anniversary. My daughter will often draw pictures at home or at school and gift these to me to display on my wall in my office. Okay. So again, being original, being really fluent. Here we go. Repeat after me. Who do you usually get presents from? Most often, I receive gifts from my wife and my daughter on special occasions, like my birthday or on our wedding anniversary. My daughter will often draw pictures at home or at school and gift these to me to display on my wall in my office. All right. So, next question. Which days are common to give gifts to others for you? So here you can reflect on saying birthday. This is, by the way, another technique that I used in my speaking interview, and I think the examiner definitely liked hearing this, where I was referencing what I had said before. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so referencing what I've said before means reflecting on your past comments, so making connections among the responses. So, well, as I had mentioned for a couple of the previous questions, okay, so that's the reference. That's where I'm basically making a connection to the other responses, and that's really, really good to do. Okay, you definitely want to make connections among your answers. Examiners really like that. Okay, it shows that you're in the flow of the conversation. So this is my next tip for the day. It's tip 6. Okay, so make connections among your answers when these are clearly possible. So again, the example I just gave is, as I had mentioned in my previous response. Okay, so make those connections. Make those connections. It's really good. All right. Oh, it says most common occasions that people give presents in Syria are for birthdays, weddings, graduation from high school and university. Just last January, I got about 10 presents from my friends on my birthday. Okay, oh, it's careful with the repetition there of birthdays. So you want to just have very clear, non-repetitive language. Abhil says, any day where a person can treat someone who is close to their heart is a perfect day to gift them. I'm the kind of person who loves the element of surprise. And I give gifts for no special reason at all, just to make people happy. Okay, Abhil, make sure you stay on topic. All right, you're a little bit off topic there. You're getting a little bit too philosophical. Don't do that. Okay. Rashika says the New Year festival and Christmas days are the common days that I receive gifts from others. Usually these days I receive gifts such as clothing, perfumes, shoes from my mother or brother. Last year I received a beautiful dress from my mom. Okay. Isas up here says, I got my test results today. I got a band 7.5. Isas, Abir, good job. Congratulations. I'm happy to hear that. Hey, send me an email. I'd love to get your testimonial. All right. Very good. Nihad says, in my opinion, giving gifts or presents on a number of different occasions, such as weddings, anniversaries and birthdays, Mother's and Father's Day, or Valentine's Day, are very common. Okay. Students, be really careful. The part one questions are all about you. So when the examiner was asking me for part one, the examiner was asking me about math, and all of the questions were about me. So what did your teachers do to make math more enjoyable? Okay. All right, so which days are common to give gifts to others for you? Most often, I will give presents to people that are close to me. For their birthdays. Also, I buy tons of presents for Christmas, as well as some gifts for New Year's and Easter also. Okay. And you don't have to name all of them. If you miss one or two, it's totally fine, as long as you get some of the bigger ones. It depends on your culture and your religion. Again, which days are common to give gifts to others for you? Most often, I will give presents to people that are close to me for their birthdays. Also, I buy tons of presents for Christmas, as well as some gifts for New Year's and Easter also. Okay, sure. I would start with this. The well as I mentioned. Okay, so making that connection. Well, as I mentioned for a couple of the previous questions, most often I will give presents to people that are close to me for their birthdays. Also, I buy tons of presents for Christmas, as well as some gifts for New Year's and Easter also. That's much better now that I have that connection. Okay, notice how with that connection, it just makes the whole conversation flow. That's what you want to do. Okay, let's go to this next question here. All right. How has gift giving changed compared to a few decades before? Now here, the present perfect is very, very important. So make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, so pay attention to grammar. Okay, so how has gift giving changed compared to a few decades before? This question is in the present perfect, and you want to paraphrase. So few decades is like 20, 30 years. Okay, that's what you have to paraphrase. Paraphrasing is really important, so using your own words to express yourself. Okay. All right, so how has gift giving changed compared to a few decades before? Okay, use the present perfect. Janelle says, while in my perspective, giving gifts to others has significantly changed over the past 2 decades, especially choices and styles due to less time in this fast-paced world. People are often buying gifts online and shipping them directly to the recipient. This has made gift giving very convenient. Okay. Yeah, using technology, of course, always, right? So gift giving has changed with modern technology, especially online shopping like Amazon, right? Okay. Don't use you, students. I didn't use the word you even once in my speaking. And I thought that was really good, and I think the examiner liked it as well. Okay. Speaking and writing are very subjective, so you really do have to convince the examiner that you're giving them the information that they need or that they see as a band 9, okay? Gervier says, about a decade or two ago, it was common for people to gift handmade presents, such as a woolen sweater, but nowadays people prefer to buy gifts from the supermarket. Don't use the word something, Gervier. Stay away from something. Okay. Naman says, in past times, a good gift might have been more relevant only for bigger achievements, like scientists or politicians. However, nowadays, it has drastically changed to materialistic objects. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You have to have clarity. Okay. Surya says, well, in the past, people used to give greeting cards as a gift, but recently there's been a lot of change in items. Okay. All right. So there have been many changes in the way people exchange gifts nowadays as compared to 20 or 30 years ago. This has been impacted by both culture and technology. Recently, people tend to often buy gifts online or even digital gifts like gaming cards or movie subscriptions, which simply weren't around in the past. Also, people have become much better off, and instead of receiving gifts that are practical, like a new cutlery set, these days people tend to give more toys and decorations. All right. Okay, and at this point, the examiner might start to look down at their paper like, okay, that's enough, and that's the signal that you got to stop, okay? So here we go. Repeat after me. How has gift giving changed compared to a few decades before? There have been many changes in the way people exchange gifts nowadays as compared to 20 or 30 years ago. This has been impacted by both culture and technology. Recently, people tend to often buy gifts online or even digital gifts like gaming cards or movie subscriptions, which simply weren't around in the past. Also, people have become much better off, and instead of receiving gifts that are practical, like a new cutlery set, these days people tend to give more toys and decorations. Okay, better off means that we have more material objects. Okay, all right. Okay, everyone, so I'll leave this last question for you to practice on your own or with partners. If you could give a special gift to any person, what would it be and who would you give it to? This is a conditional. Practice conditionals as well, okay? And you can practice your speaking on our websites when you go to your My Student account. After you log in, you will find this student partner speaking button. Click on that and then accept the terms. It's absolutely free. The terms are that you will speak nicely. And there's always people in here. Right now we have Asim in here and Darshan Kumar in here. and they are waiting for somebody to video chat or audio chat with them. So you can practice speaking on the websites with other IELTS students, again, for free. To get access to our premium package, click that big red button, and it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. That's it for right now, students. Lots of tips today on what to do for that high band 9. And again, visit us at ahelp.com, gltshelp.com, academic and general IELTS. I will be back tomorrow with some reading and listening practice. Okay? All right, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. If it's late in your country, sweet dreams to you. Remember, you're all beautiful, smart people. Just keep pushing forward and believe in yourselves. I'm Adrian, signing out from Central Europe for now. Bye.